It's July 7th, 1997, and this is episode 95 of WCW Monday Nitro. Commentary for the first hour of the show is Larry Zbyszko, Tony Schiavone, and Mike Tenay, followed in the second hour by Tony Schiavone, Mike Tenay, and Bobby Heenan. Nitro opens with Mean Gene on the ramp, as Gene calls on Kurt Hennig to join him. Gene wants to know why Hennig is here, and Hennig doesn't answer, saying he's here for his own reasons, but does state that he will be at this Sunday's Bash at the Beach pay-per-view. Gene then suggests that maybe Hennig is here to team with DDP to take on Scott Hall and the Macho Man, but Hennig tells Gene not to jump to conclusions here. Ric Flair then heads out to join Hennig on the ramp. Flair shakes Hennig's hand and says that Hennig is here to be a horseman. And again, Hennig tells us not to jump to conclusions because he hasn't committed to anything just yet, but says we'll find out what his plans are at the Bash at the Beach. It's now time for the opening match of Nitro, as the Public Enemy are taking on the Harlem Heat with Sister Sherry.
It's like anything else. If you never typed and said
know that the Steiner brothers have to fit. Here he goes, hit of Steve, and the big man with a
these guys, the Harlem Heat
Sunday when Hollywood Hulk Hogan and the Worm
just walks through the keyhole.
There's a flip, you will. Scott Norton of the NWO will face Eddie. Great tag teams. Double teaming. Usually when you have their game faces on with a double team target. How about that?
During the match, Vincent starts to head to the ring. Sherry gets Booker T's attention and Booker runs off Vincent. Sherry then gets on the apron and shoves Johnny Grunge off the top rope, but he hits Stevie Ray, costing Harlem Heat the match here. After the match, Mean Gene joins Harlem Heat and Sister Sherry in the ring. Sherry says she sent Booker T to go after Vincent because she didn't want Vincent interfering in the Heat's matches again. Booker T says he doesn't know what's going on with Sherry, but if she can't get her act together, she needs to step off and leave Team Harlem Heat. Sherry then says that Booker T can't fire her because she quits, and Stevie Ray makes it official.
Sucker, it's over! Wow.
Next up, Joe Gomez is taking on Conan.
Conan and Joe Gomez, Jr., they basically grew up together in Mexico.
During the match, we cut to the crowd as Raven watches on, just as he did last week.
Questions, but I see a pattern
here. Impact player Raven Kurt Hennig.
And wondering about what will happen next Sunday.
He's in the New World Order, and we just don't know yet.
Being mean when Hollywood Hogan have a very special interview from those men later on.
Conan wins the match with a Tequila Sunrise. We now move into more tag team action as Hector Garza and Juventud Guerrera are taking on Los Villanos, Villano 4 and Villano 5.
Punching some
ring stars from Mexico here, Mike. First time we have seen. They are the sons of the legendary and actually all four. And there is word in the locker room confirmation on it yet, but it looks like that may happen. Fans, we do know that here tonight, a little bit later on in this telecast, up on top and a great maneuver. Look at that. In regards to tags, partner substitution, as we see a
Garza down and the Villanos are pulling.
And the Villano pick up and a great maneuver from the top. Have their number 4 or 5 in Roman numerals, Larry, and instead of the exchange.
Here, there are no rules to take advantage of.
Look at this. An attempt. And here comes Juventud. Oh my goodness. Up on top one more time, and this time he caught him.
Oh, I'm gonna fool him.
Helped by Juventud, he's gonna hoist him up. Oh my goodness, what a... Sending Juventud to the left side, picked him up. Oh, dive, sending Juventud up. Oh my goodness, what a living... Goes to the top, moonsault. He caught him with the...
Perfect, off the top rope, and he got ducked.
Fans are standing here for this one. And that time, Hector just ducked low. He's up, and there it is. Oh my! Think Garza may be hurt as well on the outside. Juventud up after that spectacular move. Oh my!
Juventud wins the match with a 450 splash. Next we head to the announcers booth where they are breaking down the show so far, but they are interrupted by the music of the NWO as Scott Hall, Randy Savage and Elizabeth head out. They then walk over to take over the announcers booth. Hall tells Zbyszko that he can run off with the others, but Zbyszko stands up to Hall, saying he's going to stay right here. Hall then calls out DDP and says at the Bash at the Beach, he and March don't care who Dallas brings as a partner, and guarantees that DDP is going down in Daytona. Savage says that Bash at the Beach is going to be NWO all the way, and tells us to stay tuned because later tonight he's going to give someone a wrestling match. As Hall and Savage leave, Hall throws his toothpick in Zbyszko's face. Zbyszko stands up to Hall, but Hall continues to taunt him as we head to a break. After a commercial break, we're shown a video package of Lex Luger and the Giant breaking down their feud with the NWO so far. It's time for more tag team action. Chavo Guerrero Jr. and Eddie Guerrero are taking on Vicious and Delicious, Buff Bagwell and Scott Norton with Vincent. Before the match can begin, we see a limo leaving the arena, and we're told that the limo pulled up, but left when the cameras met them in the parking lot.
What a humiliating ending your career at
the arena here tonight. In addition, we heard earlier, and I'm alert of the NWO doing exactly what it wants to do here on Nitro.
Well, they do what they...
Speculation in recent weeks as we see a double team tack young Chavo Jr.
Make a tag, and then he comes off, then gets...
Not, that's how huge this is.
Oh my! Look at this!
Took them both over with a...
Eddie blind tags in, but after the double suplex is reversed, Eddie runs back to the apron. The referee is then arguing with Eddie, telling him that he's a legal man and needs to get back into the ring. After some time, Eddie finally sees an opening and jumps back in.
Meanwhile, allow Bagwell sends him in. Look at the power of Buff Bagwell.
Individuals very short fuse, and they can hit.
Certainly did. This is certainly uncharacteristic of
what we mentioned earlier about the uncle.
Look at couldn't pull Norton.
Oh my goodness.
Picked him up like a baby.
After being double teamed once again, Eddie crawls to Chavo and tags out.
Eddie just really almost ran to the corner.
Maybe we'll tournament where they bring some of the top wrestlers from around the world.
Chavo extends his hand for a tag, and Eddie refuses to tag back in. Eddie then walks out on Chavo, saying that it's time for Chavo to be a man and grow up.
Eddie did not make a tag, and Eddie is for his nephew here.
Yeah,
time to be a winner.
Larry, you've known the Guerreros for years.
And this Chavo giving it his all, doing everything he...
Like Norton, tripped over.
In the face of what's going on. You know as well as I do, guys, it's only a matter of time here. It's of Scott Norton.
Yeah, but that's all in.
With Chavo taking a beating, Eddie heads back out onto the ramp, looking for Chavo to fight back in.
The old NWO annex, back to the arrow. Why is he doing this? To his own. And, you know, it's really a good Larry moments ago. Look at this.
Blockbuster.
Oh, boy.
Buff Bagwell would win the match after a double team blockbuster. As we move into the second hour of Nitro, Bobby Heenan heads out to replace Larry Zbyszko. But Zbyszko doesn't leave and wants to stay out here for the Randy Savage match after the altercation with Hall and Savage earlier tonight. We now move into the match. La Parka is taking on Randy Savage with Scott Hall and Elizabeth.
What the NWO has said all along about tradition, about WCW.
WCW.
All right, Brain, we still do not have words, I know, and I'm not taking their side here. They have succeeded. That roll up by La Parka, and they'll come in.
As the match goes on, Scott Hall heads towards the announcer's booth to taunt Larry Zbyszko some more.
Let's get some security out here to protect.
Yeah, somebody needs to get between.
With Hall distracted with Larry Zbyszko, La Parka would hit the Diamond Cutter. Wait, and remove his mask, revealing that it's DDP. DDP wins the match with a Diamond Cutter.
Incredible! He pinned.
Scott Hall, not knowing what just happened, runs back to the ring. As Liz fills Hall in, DDP leads through the crowd.
Stays one step ahead of the new
Scene on Nitro after this. Gentlemen.
It's now time for some more tag team action as Ernest the Cat Miller and Glacier are taking on Psychosis and Silver King with Sonny Ono. Before the match can start, we cut backstage where Eddie Guerrero and Chavo Guerrero Jr. are brawling.
Determined.
That's the assumption that I have to make after the last couple of weeks.
That these four men have gone at it as the comes off. How about
The knee of Psychosis.
Sorry, Psychosis hits the ropes.
Whoa.
Stays away from Bash at the beach. He caught him.
During the match, Mortis and Wrath run in to attack Miller and Glacier, but also get into a brawl with Psychosis and Silver King.
Silver King. Go to the air. Look at this. Psychosis.
The brawl is cut off as we head to a commercial break. After the commercial break, we're back on the ramp with Mean Gene as he calls for Ric Flair to head out and join him. Flair says that he wants to apologize to everyone here because he said that the Hot Rod would not show up here. But as it appears, the Hot Rod is here tonight. As Piper's music hits, Flair looks up the ramp, but Piper doesn't show, and Flair reveals a mannequin dressed as a stereotypical Scotsman, saying that that's Piper. Flair then tells Piper that he's not the real icon in this sport. Flair then says that Piper is a punk, a second-rate movie maker, and Piper is just like every other guy that Flair has carried to greatness over the years, calling Piper a stiff. The real Roddy Piper then appears behind Flair as Flair continues cutting his promo. Flair finally realizes that Piper is behind him when he tries to grab the kilt from the mannequin, and it doesn't budge. Flair backs up into the ring as Piper pursues him. The two get into a brawl in the ring as Piper tears Flair's clothes off. Chris Benoit and Mongo run in to support Flair. Piper fights off the Horsemen, but is eventually overwhelmed by them. The attack continues as we head into a commercial break, and for a moment we can see what looks like Jeff Jarrett, who's just run in to help Piper. After the commercial break, we head to Mike Tenay, looking for answers once again from Raven. As Tenay tries to get an answer from Raven, Stevie Richards interrupts Tenay.
Stevie Richards!
Richards tells Tenay that Raven doesn't talk to anyone but his friends, and tells Tenay to give him the microphone. Richards then asks Raven if he has signed a contract with WCW, but Raven doesn't answer, and punches Richards before leaving. It's now time for tonight's main event, and it's another tag team match. The Steiner brothers are taking on Chris Benoit and Stevemonger McMichael with Deborah.
Here on there's a big announcement you need to make for us. Steiner, yeah, they were duped into signing that Friday as Mongo.
How about the 11th at 10 a.m. and all tickets are on July the 14th. Tickets at the Orlando Arena.
Time friends as we've seen. It's all happened here. Here's Rick Steiner. Before in the history of our great
will go just to win a wrestling match.
During the match, we cut backstage where Randy Savage is attacking referee Nick Patrick, obviously pretty upset about being beaten by DDP earlier tonight.
If he comes out here, I can tell you right now, Jason, if he comes out here, we're at Steiner and the strength exhibited late in the match. The Steiners do not care. Any obstacle that they would, man who says he's a free agent, and Kurt Hennig. Kurt Hennig says he will be there. One of the most phenomenal wrestlers this sport is
Rodman. And a belly overhead super.
To bring Rick in. Here comes Benoit. And Rick runs. Up. And all four men are out of here. Coming up this...
Later in the match, Jeff Jarrett runs in and attacks Mongo on the outside. And Jimmy Hart jumps on the apron to distract Benoit, as Kevin Sullivan runs in and attacks Chris Benoit with a chair. Sullivan grabs a piece of the chair and looks like he's going to try and stab Benoit with it, but Rick Steiner stops him. Rick Steiner then picks up the victory after the attack from Kevin Sullivan. And finally, to close the show, Hollywood Hogan heads out with Eric Bischoff. Hogan says that at Bash at the Beach, the Hollywood Hogan wannabe Lex Luger is going to know his place, and that after Dennis Rodman is done with the Giant, it's going to be smooth sailing for the NWO. As Hogan continues to insult the Giant and Lex Luger, they start to head down to the ring to confront Hogan. Bischoff tries to attack Luger, and Luger puts Bischoff in the torture rack. Vincent and Buff Bagwell run in to help, but the Giant chokeslams them both. Hogan would escape before the Giant could get to him. Hogan leaves Bischoff in the ring, and the show would end with Hollywood Hogan and the NWO facing off with Luger and the Giant. Before we finish, please comment on your favorite part of the show. Mine was easily the DDP La Parka swerve. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to the channel, leave a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video, if not, a thumbs down, and I'll see you on the next one.